Good evening, free enterprise fans, and welcome to another table seed here tonight on Randomania. My name's Vitasia. I'm joined tonight by Leggy Starscream. How we doing tonight, Leggy?
I'm doing good. But we'll see how these racers are doing in a bit. I'm looking at the seed, and it could be a spicy one.
Absolutely. Penguin8r versus Oscredwin. Penguin8r, blowing through all of his required matches, already sitting at 3-1, sitting very well in order to advance to the next stage. Oscredwin has started off 0-1, so really kind of looking for a win right now. And you got to wonder, with these particular objectives, we have, unlock the pass door, which might be buried somewhere, defeat the the boss of Lower Babel. That one just gets underground, and the defeat the queen at the Tower of Monsters. That one's just get underground. So two of our objectives are just get underground. But after that, what's your third? Do you hope for a pass? If you find an early darkness crystal, do you gamble the moon? Combine all that with a required starting Cecil.
Yeah, and Dark Knight Cecil there is a challenging quandary for our runners. Because on the one hand, you get your Paladin Cecil, you find a Holy Sword, either by getting the Excalibur off the forge, or finding a Crystal Sword somewhere, and you've got a lot of your damage on lock. On the other hand, because of the vanilla agility flag, the agility speed of the battles are going to be tied to that Cecil unless you find another one. So there's a strong argument to going up the mountain, turning that Cecil into a paladin, and then just leaving him dead for the rest of the seed.
That does make things a little bit difficult, though, if runners end up doing that. Because remember, this is a no dismiss. You are required to keep whoever you have. So having, one dead spot already, and then most runners end up trying to find a Tella at some point in order to help set up what will eventually be their grind. So having two either dead or less than optimum characters in there means you're trying to do a full Threemus fight with only 3 people and get there. That could prove difficult.
Yeah, though of course, if there is a second Cecil, that does answer a lot of the questions. Because if you find a second Cecil and you get that Holy Sword, you leave one of them on the ground and you let one of them do a lot of the combat. As we get started, our character is a Yong. Looks like that's some form of leg, doing me proud here in Baron, and a starting Pan.
So starting Pan is always interesting. I suspect that means both of our runners are probably going to try to fade Fabul as long as they can, try to pull off the very rare, one dip Fabul and never having to double dip. There are a total of 3 key items there, but of course, because it's available so early, it's a check that sometimes you have to make in order to get access even to the underworld. With that, though, we'll see these runners are off at about the 50-second mark. So, of course, dismissing the Yong, probably both runners are trying to figure out exactly what they want to do. Penguin8r is going to start off by showing us at least who's in Baron Inn. And we have a Rydia already available with, a Sylph right next to her.
Yeah, and that, normally I'd look at that Rydia and say, well, she's great for slingshotting because she starts at a super low level. But that Sylph orb there does actually mean that sometimes you might look at that Rydia and go like, no, I want her for that early utility, because when she hits 25 MP, she can spam Sylph with the Sylph glitch still active.
Yeah, meanwhile, Oscredwin he's found some great loot here available. He found a white spear and, of course, Palom, which is just a fantastic pickup. He said, I don't even have to think about that. Palom is a win automatically.
Yeah, and with that Palom, I imagine, unless our runners really want to go with a very strong mage composition. I can totally see our runners leaving that really on the sidelines.
Oscredwin also ends up finding a cat claw, which of course is one of Yang's best weapons, so that may incentivize picking him up a little bit later. Remember, all the characters that you dismiss are, re-gettable, so to speak, in the Tower of Wishes in Mysidia. So as soon as you dismiss them, you can bring them back into your party, but once they're in your party, they cannot leave. So Cecil is the only required at this point. It's a very common strategy, I think, in the table stages at this point to try to get as many characters and then make your decision based on kind of the best options you have then.
Yeah, over in Damsian, Oscredwin does find a Cid who is shaping up to be a tournament favorite, at least here especially here in the later stages, for that just high level and damage utility very, very early. Looks like Oscredwin is picking up that Cid right away and going straight into Antlion.
That's really interesting to see that. I know Cid is fantastic at things like the Mac Giant grind, for example. If we don't get lucky and get another grind if we don't find a Tella, but I'm really a little bit surprised to see Oscredwin going ahead and picking up that Cid. He might just be committing to that play already right away.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, Penguin8r, meanwhile, is actually clearing out the basement in Damsian. Oscredwin opted against it, not really finding anything here.
Yeah, but taking the Cid does speak to one of the big concerns that I've noticed from this flag set, which is characters that are really good in the early game versus characters that are really good in the late game, and how you balance taking early game characters versus late game characters as you build out your party. Because, like you said, you do not have the ability to undo any choices you make.
All right, meanwhile, Oscredwin is going to be the first over here to the Antlion spot. This should be interesting. Cid... Oh.
Okay, that's exciting. Tries and...
trying to kill his Cecil. Oh no.
Oh, that's tragic.
All right, this is a gamble. It's a 1 in 3 chance at this point. Oscredwin, who falls over? Because guess what? If his Cid falls over, that's not good. Meanwhile, Penguin8r has decided he's going to pick up that Rydia on Mount Hobbs. Oh no, resetting out. Worst case scenario for Oscredwin.
Oof. Yeah, Penguin8r does see that the boss on top of Hobbs is Pale Dim, so that's one of our Lunar Sparkles out of the pool.
That's a little bit unfortunate because, Pale Dim is one of the easier Lunar Sparkles, I would say. All right, meanwhile, Penguin8r is continuing character hunts, has at least one White Mage, and a Cane. Now, the Cane is interesting because we did see a White Lance available.
Yeah, it looks like Penguin8r is taking that Jumpy Boy.
I like the move. I really do like that move.
Especially, like you said, with that White Lance right away, that's going to solve that early game damage that I imagine Oscredwin took Cid to try and provide.
Well, okay, Oscredwin, ekes out a very dangerous Golbez fight. Does keep everyone up, so Palom will gain the levels that he was looking for just to get him online with some sort of level 2 spell.
Yeah, there's that Ice 2 right away. And there's a Green Rock.
That is interesting.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Golbez is one of the bosses that cannot logically gate underworld access.
That is correct.
The other two being Wyvern and Valvalis. So we know that there has to be underground access at a location that is not on the other side of that Earth crystal. But still, getting that treasury and potentially finding some really good gear could be very nice for informing the rest of your party decisions.
I mean, I think that might be because both of these runners will have picked up 3 characters by the time we get to the Earth Crystal, and we'll see if Oscredwin actually, it looks like he might be diving the Troya Treasury. So, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else in chat, I don't want to exclude anyone. Now is time for everyone's favorite new game here in the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise community. Rate that treasury. In the meantime, penguin8r is set up over here, finds the Golbez. Will be interesting to see how well he does. Charm, middle, slumber. Curse ring, already good. Couple glass helms when you have a Cecil. Strength. Power robe.
And a coffin and a ninja. So you've got edge gear, you've got... Honestly, that's a pretty dang good treasury here.
Yeah,
Not
that's...
a lot of raw power unless you find an edge, but some dang good utility.
Well, I mean, if we're forced to have a Cecil... Sorry, at this point, I'm leveling him up. I'm putting that glass helm on him, and a glass helmed Cecil sitting in the back row covering people can make certain boss fights trivial if they're all physical damage and in a really bad spot. Like that was as close to optimum. The only thing that would have made it better is if we had a weapon for Cecil. If we had an Excalibur or a Crystal Sword, probably would have made it 10 out of 10. But that one's still high. I'm giving that 7.5, almost an 8.
Yeah, I was also thinking about that 7 point. Looks like penguin8r has cleared the Golbez himself. That Kane's White Spear doing quite a bit of work.
You mean someone covered in armor of darkness is weak against a White Spear? What?
I don't understand.
Oscredwin, meanwhile, it says, "Okay, I'm done with the treasury. Let's go ahead. Let's bite the bullet. Let's do Fabul."
Yeah. Especially with one of your early checks just being taken out of your logical progression. Coming over here and doing this does not seem the worst idea. Does not get the life potion on that black mage.
Yeah, that's a bunch of experience, just kind of setting out there. Sid doesn't need it. But man, Palom does.
Yeah, we'll see what the key item here is. That's a twin heart. Wow. The overworld just having all the rabbit holes today.
I approve. I mean, we thought this was going to be a race to the underground. I mean, this the more rabbit holes, the better.
Yeah, because finding these rabbit holes is going to ask a lot of questions of our runners in terms of what checks they want to make and what checks they feel comfortable making at various points. Kamikaze's for sale on Oscredwin's side, so I imagine he'll pick up some of those to help get through that first phase of Cave Magnes.
Oscredwin also, there was a Drain Sword picked up at some point in time. It ended up selling the Drain Sword as well. That's when you're stuck with a Cecil, having a Drain Sword and a Cursed Ring just instantly says, okay, we're going to level him up and then just deal with the levels later.
Yeah, like, there are level breakpoints for that Cecil that you can take him to that are still decent for Threemus, and if you need to turn him into a harder anchor, you've got that Cursed Ring. That Drain Sword would also be good. Maybe you don't have him swinging a Holy Sword for a little bit, but...
This is gutsy on Oscredwin's side. He has almost no levels. The only one who has levels is his Cid, and right now, this is kind of vanilla levels for him at this point in time. You get him just before you come over here in the vanilla game, so you can't just outpower something right here. I like the call. It's just very, very gutsy. I might have tried to do ordeals to get a couple more levels on Palin before I did this.
Mm-hmm. Though I could also see Oscredwin coming in here with the thought that penguin8r might not, and is looking to get a gamble to get that advantage, because if this turns out to be the Magma Key and Ordeals has, like, the hook, Oscredwin could have a huge advantage if penguin8r decides to put this off.
Meanwhile, penguin8r does keep both his Cane and Palom alive through that Fabul Gauntlet, which means he's 4 extra levels up at this point in time. That's fantastic for that Twin Harp.
That said, the other nice thing about this particular location is that you don't need to worry about the Black Mage having levels, because this particular spot has, like, ridiculously high magic defense.
Oh, that's true. Forgot about that part.
So, even without the levels on the Black Mage, this could prove... If Cid can carry this, Oscredwin's in a good spot. But in the meantime, it's been 15 minutes. I'm tired of talking. See y'all in a bit.
Don't look at me. I'm not carrying this.
Anyway, I don't recognize the music, unfortunately, but chat is saying it's from Final Fantasy X.
Absolutely. It's one of the many motifs throughout Final Fantasy X, usually associated with the summoners of some sort, I believe. Hope chat can help me out. It's been a long time since I've played 10. Meanwhile, penguin8r does find a Baigen. He's doing that ordeals instead of going over here to the Twin Harp. Oscredwin looks like he's going to get through this Octomom fight. It's not an easy fight, but he has slowed Octomom down to one tentacle.
And it looks like, at this point, that Sid is very well equipped to tank. Put the Assassin Dagger on that Quake Kid so that it's doing a little more damage than the Lit one is. Takes it down and gets some really nice levels.
Penguin8r finds one of our other free bosses actually available with Dark Imps and a Rat Tail. Whew. So, yo dog, I heard you like rabbit holes. We put a rabbit hole in your rabbit hole.
Yeah, so again, this could be one of those cases where that Rat Tail could turn into something that if Penguin8r finds underground access soon, who knows, but the next question is where to next. Oscredwin does have a bit of an advantage that I don't think he knows about going into Baron Inn, because Sid's hammers will do bonus damage against that Dr. Luggage we saw.
This is true. Although Penguin8r obviously was the one who showed us that, and he has opted not to pick up any of the Sids that he's seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't blame either runner for taking the Palom and then wanting to keep the rest of their options open.
Ooh, Thor Rages and an exit available in Troya. That's fantastic to see there.
Indeed. Over on Penguin8r's side, just an apple. An apple a day keeps the darkness away, I guess?
I mean, in this case, boom. Job change. Congratulations, you're level 1. It will be interesting to see what Penguin8r does with his Cecil after this, if he will opt to kill him. At this point in time, the only overworld option that we have not seen from either run, I mean, I guess we could do Earth, but I'm guessing that our underworld access is not there. Oscredwin is going to be diving that, though. So if it is either the Magma Key or the hook, we will know that that is not the intended route, because Earth Crystal was being guarded by a Golbez.
Yeah, which means, based off of the rabbit holes we've seen, the intended route has to be at Baron Inn at this point.
Well, it doesn't have to be. If, for example, the Mist Dragon is the first boss that we fight up here in Tower of Zod.
Oh, that is fair, but that is the... We've checked all of the other overworld bosses. The only other... Yes, the Mist Dragon could be the boss up here, but I think that's the one case that is, frankly, exceedingly rare.
Yeah, it would be horrible. And it would, I mean, in a one-on-one race like this, you don't anticipate that happening. You just bank on it not happening. And if it does happen, then, and your opponent checks it, well, GG, you made this super ultra low percent play.
Yeah, and like, on the other side of the coin, our runners are, very much almost out of options. So, if it is there, Penguin8r will realize that he has to go do the 2 Troya dungeons very soon.
Oh, and it's not a Mist Dragon, it's another dragon.
So, now, of course, both of our runners still could find underground access at both of these places. It's just that the one that Penguin8r is going to find will be the intended one.
Mecha Link in chat saying Bahamut isn't even a dragon, he's a fake dragon, which is technically true. Bahamut does not take extra damage to dragon type, like the Dragoon Lance or the Dragon Whip. But I would counter and say, well, Bahamut is as much of a dragon as Threemus, who also does not have those vulnerabilities.
Oscredwin going for the reflect strats against Bahamut here. Bounces that Mega Nuke back at the Dragon for over 9,000 damage. Gets Virus on the Quake Kid.
That'll be a nice little upgrade. And Quake Kid has some decent equipment at this point in time, so should be able to start pumping out quite a bit of damage.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, penguin8r finds Antlion. His party isn't set up too bad for this. You get your cover set up on your Cecil, let Kane jump, and let your Quake Kid cast his spells, and you're kind of set.
Yeah, Oscredwin finds another Rydia and finds that we're going to have a turtle down at the Golbez spot, while penguin8r finds that logical Magma Key.
That's a fantastic Magma Key to pick up. Oh, and a Rosa. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy for a Rosa. We don't have to take that for him. Although Penguin, I mean, that's diving a little bit deep in there.
Yeah, and like that's the other nice thing about doing Tower of Zod are these two character checks. And if penguin8r pushes it off, not knowing the Rose is there, could be some interesting party choices. Though Oscredwin does take neither character right away.
So penguin8r is going to be diving down into it. It'll be really interesting to see what he decides to do. We're out of character checks in the overworld and the upper land until we find a hook or a darkness crystal. We might, I mean, I don't know if penguin8r has the levels to be able to check Dwarf Castle quite yet. But with that underground access, we do have objectives 3 and 4 technically open to us.
Ooh, but this Mom Bomb is bullying Oscredwin.
Are you telling me that a high physical damage spot would be, you know, having a back row Cecil with a glass helm wouldn't be helpful there? Huh?
Why not just put the glass helm on the Quack Kid himself?
I mean, sure, but it's not swag.
I mean, it's Palom. Palom probably has the most swag energy out of any character in Final Fantasy IV.
So Oscredwin is going to continue to follow this track at this point in time. Meanwhile, penguin8r is going to turn in his pan right from the start. I like it. It's checking your freebies while you can.
Indeed, and it, you know, yes, you eventually need to go down and defeat the Queen of the Land of Summon Monsters, but you don't have to do that right away. That's actually going to be really tough.
And hey, how about a tower key for our troubles? Just right out of the gate. Not like we weren't planning on doing the tower anyway, but hey, we can make it efficient while we're there.
Yeah, not having to worry about double dipping the tower is a really nice pickup for penguin8r. Yeah, that glass helm is making a world of difference for that mage.
Absolutely.
The amount of physical incoming damage dropping from like half or more of his HP pool to 1 to 30-ish.
Oh, hey, there's go mode.
Well, this begs a question then.
Yeah, it's interesting now.
Mm-hmm. Though part of the question is obviously going to be who's at the queen spot?
Yep, and it's worth a check. penguin8r is doing right here. Oh, would you like a random lunar sparkle? I mean, it's worth checking.
It's D-Lunar. which
that's
but Oscredwin takes another wipe post explosion from the bomb. I almost want to suggest he change up his strategy a little bit, maybe actually take the Rosa to have an extra target, but we'll see what happens this time as he goes in for another attempt. What happened last time was the explosion almost wiped the party, did like 700 damage to Sid, and then the small bombs were hitting for about 100 each.
All right, so penguin8r at this point in time is saying, okay, I'm in go mode. I got to commit to a party now. penguin8r does not... I mean, he does have access to a white mage. The not quite as good Porum. And picks up a Sid because, hey, we need some extra levels right now. So forgoes the Yong, so that Cat Claw is absolutely sold. But that's penguin8r's team at this point in time. Probably not entirely happy with this team. There's no Tella. We have not found a Tella anywhere.
Yeah, your grind options currently are fairly scant. Until you find that Darkness Crystal, or you find a Luca Key, for my personal favorite, Door Grind.
I mean, Door Grind might be pretty attractive if we can get up to 10 key items, and we're already at 5. So, yeah, let's start selling some ninja gear in the meantime. I gotta think, my goodness. That's the most difficult thing and the most intimidating thing about this particular table flag set is that it is incredibly difficult. If you don't have a Tella, the grind is everything.
Yeah. So, seeing what penguin8r's choices are to get the remaining levels on his party are going to be interesting. Obviously, there are some levels you can take from boss spots that will produce more key items as well. Oscredwin gets through this time around, putting a Gaia drum to very good use on the split-up bombs.
Very nicely done, Oscredwin. I mean, he's doing this with low-level strategies at this point. Eking out wins. Now, it'll be interesting to see what he ends up finding here.
That's interesting.
I mean, that absolutely helps you get through D-Lunars.
Yeah, and like, if you throw that on Cecil, cover strats ahoy.
Yeah, it's one free win. I mean, that's what that Moon Veil represents. One free win at this point.
And depending on your grind options, if you're doing effectively boss grinds, one free win might save you a lot of time.
All right, so penguin8r dives. He's doing tower. Looks like he's going to be setting things up, checking some treasure chests on the way through here. Lots of trap chests in the tower in the meantime as well. You can find some decent equipment. An ice brand for Cecil. Hey, that can do some work. He hasn't killed off his Cecil, so probably planning on curse stringing him once we finally get to Threemus. But for now, hey, let's do these trap chests.
Yeah, Oscredwin is working on the Baron Inn, so he's going to get his Magna Key very shortly. Does have the Rosa for the better part. Well, better is a strong word, but different party option. I could almost see Oscredwin going for like a Reflect strat. Grab like the Rydia and the Rosa, use it as a chemist.
Wouldn't be out of the question, honestly.
Whereas I imagine Penguin8r is going for more of a mixed strategy with that Kane and Sid and the twins.
Yeah, Penguin8r is going to continue he's checking every treasure chest because hey, if he can find a nice sword in one of these trap treasure chests, it will do a lot for his party.
I'm looking it up just to verify, but I believe it's a 15% for a tier 7 piece of gear in these trapped boxes.
He's being smart about it too. Remember, he's setting it up so that his Palom is going to be first, and his Palom is casting stop, so he's not having to go through long fights or anything. He's setting everything up. Protect ring. I mean, heck yeah. Now Penguin8r has to fight the worst boss of all, the inventory boss.
No amount of grinding can save you from the inventory boss.
Frog Squash, I think under normal circumstances, yeah, you're right. However, we don't have, we're not looking to slingshot. There's no Tella at this point in time, so we can't bank on any single encounter having, over 1 million experience at some point in time to really get a slingshot going, which is really the reason why you would keep a couple characters down to slingshot them, is if you can do some shenanigans like that with Tella. So in this case, I have no problems with what Penguin8r is doing because slingshotting is just not optimal at this point.
Indeed.
There's all sorts of little different nuances, and every time you think you know what's going on in the game, someone like Penguin8r says, nope, we're going to do something like this. And that's what this table flags is for. It not having access to certain characters will completely throw off your game if you're planning on doing anything. And that's part of randomizer. You have to take what the seed is going to give you and roll with it.
Penguin8r pulls Bacchus wine out of that most recent encounter chest he opened. That's going to be really nice, especially with all those melee fighters in this party.
Unless he finds a crystal sword or something for Cecil, I got to imagine that's being reserved for Kane for Threemus at this point in time.
Indeed. Oscredwin is going to come down, grab his pass, be in go mode. Gosh.
Frog Squash asks in chat, who gets weak and at what levels? Is it unrealistic to get someone to that level? Short answer, yes. It is unrealistic to expect anyone. Tella gets it, very early on as soon as you complete Mount Ordeals, which is what makes it so attractive. Everyone else, I think Rydia and Palom are the only other two that get it in this set. And both of them get it into the mid to upper 40s to the point where it's no longer logical. You finish your grind at that point. So CPU at the top of tower as Oscredwin finds his pass, recognizes that he's in go mode, and probably a little bit upset with himself that he spent so much time up in that tower.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see whether or not that particular play leads to anything interesting between that Moonveil and that Rosa.
I have a question.
I hopefully have an answer.
Are the CPU and the bits considered machines for the purposes of Sid's damage multipliers?
I will look that up.
It didn't look like it based on how much damage he did with that swing. Yeah, it doesn't look like it based on that. Sheep Launcher
yep.
pointing out in chat, Dwarfax. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sadly, the orbs are not considered machines. They aren't even weak to lightning.
What? I feel a little bit cheated because they are very clearly hovering machines.
Yeah, but I guess are any of the machines in the tower? I mean, in the giant weak to electricity?
I mean, isn't that where the Mac Giants are?
Are they weak to electricity?
I don't know. I've never done the Mac Giant grind because I've avoided it like the plague. No, I think they are, yeah, because Thunderclaw tears them a new one.
Looks like they are machines and giants.
Alright, so penguin8r is just hoping at this point. Oof. Oscredwin is actually going to give us our first peek over here at the Sheila turn-ins. Double check. Even though in go mode, still kind of hunting around for his party. If either of these is like a hook or a darkness, could unlock some. Well, hello.
And you were saying,
and a package, so we can. We haven't checked Kaipo bed yet either. I mean, if this is a Tella at either of these locations, all of a sudden Oscredwin is in a much better position.
Yeah, sitting through the Kaipo Guards fight, if it is a Tella, might be a pain, but if it's a Tella, it might be worth it. Though Oscredwin is flying to Mysidia instead, so might be looking to get a final version of that party together without... Never mind. Yeah, there we go.
If you're having globe problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 199 problems, but a globe ain't one.
Does not look to be a Tella at the package spot today. So Oscredwin instantly resets out of that.
Yeah, that's fair. There's no reason to set. I mean, third Sid, come on. Yeah, I mean, we're hoping for a Moon Tella at this point, Sheep Launcher. I mean, it would be, like I said, it's kind of a long shot. But I think Oscredwin is, everyone in the table stages is a fantastic runner. And I think he is cognizant enough to know that right now, not having a Tella is probably what's gating penguin8r from completing the seed as well. He's trying to figure out what his grind is going to be. So finding a Tella would be just an immense boon for whomever finds it. He's willing to risk it being a Tella for anything else, unless he's going to fill up his party right now. Oh, he's double checking because he realized he hasn't been here yet. Fair.
Yeah. If he pulled the White Lance, he's probably kicking himself as he sees that cane a little bit, but he hasn't sold it. That might be a choice.
Oh, yeah, he kept it.
And he's got the cane in the party now.
What are you doing? Oscredwin, what are you doing? No, stop. Stop us. Oh no.
Well, even if there is a Moontella, Oscredwin is committed. Looks like our runners have the same party, only differing by their choice of white mage.
And now he's just flying the big whale instead of going to the moon.
He's doing a Mac Giant.
Oh, right. Okay. Penguin8r does get through that lunar fight. Yeah, I also missed what was on top.
We were too deep in Oscredwin's party shenanigans to pay attention to what was at the top of the tower.
Yeah, Ground Flyer, Mac Giant might be a grind. He's got a Sid, and that's kinda it.
Yeah, Sid does have hammers, which will be super effective on the machines, which Mac Giants are. But yeah, I was looking. Neither D machines nor Mac Giants are actually weak against electricity, so I'm going to go off a lore tangent and say that whatever civilization built the Giant of Babel did a really good job of insulating it against electricity.
It just means that they're not machines that run on electricity. They are constructs that function on aether.
And interestingly, in the later remakes, the D machines are renamed to Clockwork Dragon. So they might not run on electricity, they might be all gears and clockwork.
The Harumph, I don't know if we saw it.
I know I didn't see it.
And actually, I just double checked over on Penguin8r's stream. Yeah, it's the adamant that was up there. He has the adamant highlighted on his stream.
Oh gosh. Also, shoutouts to Oscredwin using Cecil's darkness ability to clear these waves of early game enemies.
Yeah, Bahamut from the cannon room, so that's sold.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, the D Lunars fight that Penguin8r is on his way down to is not... I mean, it's going to be a tough fight. There's no getting around it. But he'll be able to he'll make it work at this point in time, because it's just a matter of setting up some reflects for a well-timed Lunar Frogs strat.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Oscredwin is going back into Dwarf Castle, whether to do boss fights to get that 10k eyes or just to do some shopping. I'm not sure. Wants that ogre axe.
That's fair.
Or the Earth Hammer, I guess. Has an ogre axe.
So Ice Shield, yeah. This is kind of an interesting setup that Ground Flyer is pointing out. His Cecil has a Curse Ring and an Ice Shield, which means instead of reducing the damage, he's going to absorb fire and it'll heal him at this point. So his Cecil is going to be able to survive quite a bit. This is next level at this point from penguin8r. Like, this is something you don't see every day. Someone cursed ring ice shield in order to be able to absorb the fire from D-lunars, so you can low percent strat and set up for the lunar frog strat. This takes deep knowledge of the game and being able to understand it and recall it and apply a strategy immediately. There, you can count on one hand the number of people who are capable of putting this together on the fly in the middle of a race.
Yeah. And it's just incredible the sheer amount of game knowledge that has been developed by Final Fantasy IV for Enterprise players. Like, for instance, we turned on You Can't Run for This tournament to prevent people from doing the D Machine and Mac Giant runs. Guess what people figured out how to do anyway?
Yeah, we thought it'd be a challenge, and then the challenge ended up being, well, we're just going to map out the random encounter tables so you can set something up perfectly to get the grind that you want.
Yeah, and also another recent development has been figuring out how status effect procs work.
That was not Mac Giant. Oh, penguin8r used that Bacchus wine on his cane right now. He's like, let's not waste any time here. Very well done by penguin8r. Gets objective number 4 down. And what is it? Xander, okay.
Which, sadly at this point, is a blank, because all that is another character.
So I gotta imagine we're getting close to penguin8r trying to figure out what his grind's gonna be. He's level late 20s, around level 30 for his characters, and otherwise he's ready to go fight Threemus. Are we? What is he setting up to do? Oh, he's setting up for some Sylph Cave trap chests.
Which are definitely an exciting one, especially if you're hunting for loot. I believe there's 6 different chests down in here. And they're all 35% for tier 7.
And hey, there's your Excalibur for Cecil.
Already paying dividends.
Frog Squash, is there a way to make everyone float? I mean, we don't know the float spell is the problem.
On the other side of the screen, we have Oscredwin continuing to try and set up the manipulation. Of course, the problem with manipulation is if you run into a spot, you can run into spots on the table where it's just like, nah, you just don't find anything here, deal with it.
Yeah, just read that out. Penguinator's gaining, some levels as he's gone through here. I am super nervous on his behalf because he's not healing. He's just dead straight ahead. Let's do this.
So I am curious what Oscredwin is looking for. He keeps resetting out of various encounters. And I'm not sure whether or not I just don't know enough about this or if there's something else going on. Darkness was at Sheila. I believe Sheila won.
Oh, Penguinator is setting up vampire strats for Zero Month.
Oh. Well. This is shaping up to be a race, everyone. Holy cow.
That was not what I would expect, but it's absolutely viable. He's got the right levels for it. He's got, I don't know how many...
Oscredwin needs to hurry and get this grind done. Yes, the grind is going to take a while. Yes, these low-level Z-strats are going to take a while, but he's still got to go around and do some bosses, which involves some running through various locations, in addition to getting that grind done in the time it takes Penguinator to pull off this fight. Oh, this is scary.
No, this is very scary. So, effectively, what he's going to end up setting up is only one person's going to survive, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's going to be Sid. But he's effectively going to put a Star Veil up and then use the vampires. And everyone is going to die except that Sid, and the vampires are going to nerf the Big Bang so he doesn't take a full Big Bang to the face every single time. But what happens after that is that the vampires are gonna keep healing him up, and every time he casts a vampire, we're gonna have a counter nuke, and that counter nuke's gonna get reflected, and he's gonna. This is gonna be a solid 20-25 minute Z fight, but it's dodging everything that Oscredwin is setting up right now in terms of a grind. Yeah, he's not using Cecil in the strats. The only thing Cecil's good for is getting his agility as low as possible. And he's got a Curse Ring and a Dream Sword on him, so not worried about that at all.
This is gonna be exciting, folks. Looks like Oscredwin has his manipulation set up again. Hopefully this one goes better than the last manipulation did.
Oh, there's a very important question that we have to ask that we have been neglecting, though.
Yeah, so where is that Legend Sword, anyway?
That wasn't it.
Oh, God, can you remind me what it is?
Yeah, so the question is, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
So for those of you who are uninitiated, one of the big things that we do in Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise is Threemus' sprite is, kind of boring in vanilla, so we randomize it. It can be one of 450 different sprites. And today we're fighting...
Hey, Oogie Bus.
It's the Oogie Boogie Man.
actually really like this, in large part. I mean, it's Halloween season. It's October. It counts.
Indeed. Throwing out the silk web to slow Threemus down. Gets lucky with that first counter nuke. So I hope you all are ready for those reflected nukes to come out, because that's basically how this fight's gonna go.
I mean, he's doing as much damage as he possibly can in the front end before this big bang comes out and obliterates the rest of his party.
Indeed. Oscredwin has taken out his first D-Machine. I mean, Mac Giant. You understand my confusion.
I do. Yeah, so Frog Squash asks a great question, and chat is doing a fantastic job of answering it. But for YouTube posterity, is there a way to tell when wall wears off? Or is it just a feeling after playing so many times? You can, if you're going to the item and you item over a cure item and you have to select what party member it goes to, you can determine if a party member still has wall. However, generally speaking, with this strat setup, what ends up happening is Threemus, you can kind of count on Threemus casting a black hole at certain intervals, and you just get into a rhythm where it's, hey, cast a vampire, reflect nuke, cast a vampire, reflect nuke, and then you just kind of hang on and hold for a second, knowing that he's about to cast some sort of black hole, and then you refresh it. So you get into a rhythm after you've done it for a little while. Oof. But
it is definitely a terrifying strategy. Was that just a high roll off the Big Bang?
Yeah, that didn't look nerfed at all. He was trying to get a little bit fancy, pumping out some more damage from some of his other characters. You really actually need most of the rest of your party to die off in order to get the right rhythm going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the timing window for nerfing a Big Bang is actually shockingly small. I mean, it's probably not shocking if you think about how this game was probably intended to be played. But that light from penguin8r is definitely a small mercy for Oscredwin, who is deep in the middle of the Map Giant drive and still needs to do the rest of his objectives.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what we've expected in a lot of the seed, a lot of these tournaments to be more like these low percent strats that penguin8r is going for. Doing a Mac Giant grind is perfectly fine on Oscredwin's side. He's struggling a little bit. He had struggled a little bit to get it set up properly. But I mean, he's doing really pretty well, all things said, with his lower party. Lots of viruses, lots of attacks with his Sid. It's not a fantastic setup, but this is one of those things, you take what the seed gives you sometimes. So he's taking it and rolling with it.
Yeah, whereas penguin8r is going for the low-level strats, which are by no means
terrifying.
Anything resembling easy.
I think that's the it is technically faster. It is absolutely 100% faster. If you can get really good at these low percent strats, to skip whatever, all the hunting for a grind, and then setting up a grind, and then doing the grind, and then going to Threemus for like a 5-minute fight versus a 25-minute fight that you get to skip all that. It is absolutely faster to do that. It is also not 100% guaranteed, as you just saw from Penguin8r, who was doing everything as well as he could, but just had a high roll big bang.
Unfortunately, on Oscredwin's side, only has one to keep that Palom throwing out viruses. So this Magnified grind, it might be slowing down or coming to a halt sooner than he wants.
Oh, and his Palom goes down. Uh-oh.
With one swing after another, just trying to keep things alive to get those life glitches off.
Oh no!
That's a searcher. So this fight's coming to an end. Oh no!
Only 2 characters alive.
Oh, that is tragic.
That's horrible. Oh no! Oh no! Oscredwin. I mean, these two are set up very well.
And in a tournament race like this, Oscredwin's going, well, it sucks, but I gotta go now. I can't spend any more time trying to do this again. Probably already feels a little bit behind after all of the issues from earlier.
Keep the levels, keep the Ogre Axe. Yeah, at this point, I mean, grind up on self-cave checks. It's a rough place.
Oh, he's going for another one. Which arguably could go a lot smoother now that he has the levels on the 2 main damage dealers. But it'll be... This race is... I'm on the edge of my seat, folks.
Yeah, and Penguin is actually doing something interesting. He's double starveiling, double virusing, or double vampire.
Which is... I like it. I worry about those HP levels with the Big Bang coming out here.
Under Big Bang, yep. He's spent too much time. I don't think he's turned down his battle speed, so everything's moving very, very quick. You might have to tone down that battle speed a little bit.
Yeah. To find that particular timing. And also, the other nice thing is that all those levels on the Palom will mean that the viruses will come out a lot faster. And for a lot longer because of just that huge MP pool.
Can Vamp reflect off walls so the Threemus can't get the HP refresh? No, Frog Squash. So what ends up happening is if you can count, effectively count HP, is you get to a certain point in the fight. Well, I guess with him, you can't quite set it up, so you have to do the whole thing. If you have someone like Edward who can completely dodge the Big Bang, what you can end up doing is counting the HP, getting it close and then start casting like heals or non-damage dealing J items that still get the counter nuke going for that, but doesn't do that. You can't use the crystal for that. It's a long animation. Some people do that just because they don't have any other items at that point in time.
But it's always an option on the table, at least.
Yeah, it's tough to do it with the Sid because yeah, you'll nerf the Big Bang, but unless you have cure 3s, you can't really bank on being able to heal up to survive anything. Yeah, it is really impressive to go to Z at these low levels. And penguin8r, to his credit, has been he's about 15 minutes in on this. Oscredwin is still trying to get his grind going. He knows the objectives he has to do. They're all well within reach at this point. We saw how quickly penguin8r, once they started, it just rolled at that point. Oscredwin's trying to get that perfect setup going for the RNG manipulation. It's not really RNG manipulation, it's table manipulation.
Indeed. I almost have to wonder if I don't know how rough the Mac manipulation is, but watching this almost makes me wonder whether or not going in and YOLOing these counters with your high-level Paladin Sid wouldn't be a bad idea either.
I mean, I'm chicken enough that I would have kept everyone and done like self-cave treasure grinds. Maybe try to find a clapper grind in there or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because, like, Oscredwin absolutely has had that Mac Giant grind on lock. If he hadn't mismenued and hit the searcher, he would have been able to pick everyone up and keep going. Oof.
Threemus 3, runners 0.
He is, after all, the Oogie Boogie Man.
Yeah, and I'm on board with PK4787 in chat. I do think we really need to turn down the battle speed because that's what's holding it up at this point in time. You do need to lower the battle speed in order to be able to do it. Even like a task spot might be able to get away with not doing it, but that's it. Yeah, he has this necessary advance. He's got 40.
Okay, looks like Oscredwin has found the grind again.
All right, penguin8r, round 4.
And of course, the other nice thing about Oscredwin at this point is that literally everyone else in his party is likely to get slingshot.
Can you slingshot 3?
Oh, I guess that's a good point, because it is the medium level.
Yeah, I didn't think we could do it.
Though I don't know where Dark Knight Cecil's levels are relative to Rosa and Kane. So if Dark Knight Cecil is high enough level, the other two might still be able to get slingshot.
Alright, so this Mac Giant fight is going to be significantly easier. Sid, I mean, 2 swings from Sid, and they're going down. So he's able to set things up fairly easily.
Yeah. Doing twice the damage he was the last time.
Thalfin, that is incorrect. Ogimus is actually a bag filled with bugs. He is not undead. He is very much alive. Gross and creepy, but not undead.
How do you know the bugs aren't undead?
Because, shut up.
The only acceptable answer here, I imagine.
So far so good on Oscredwin's side. Just taking it slow and steady. And I think that's the key at this point in time. When you get into a situation where you're panicking, that's when you make mistakes. So it's very important, even when you feel behind, to one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, one menu in front of the other. You'll get it. You know it. You've done this a million times before.
And just make sure, because one of the nice things is that the way that the ATB is set up, when you are in sub-menus, you can breathe and take your time. But, gosh, wiping 3 times on Ceromus is never something any runner wants to do. And I'm sure Penguin8r is thinking that if Oscredwin is going for similar strats, if Oscredwin, made a few fewer checks, like did Baron in relatively early and faded the rest of things, he could be behind right now.
Another great question, chat. Why does he run when it's a big bang? I know, the running animation, some of it is just nerves, but yeah, running pauses the ATB bar a bit. So it's like you're in a menu when you're running.
And I'm not sure how the ATB ticks count during animations, so it might be a manipulation to be able to save a little bit of time relative to the animation, which at high enough battle speeds might be ticking. But again, I don't know how ATB works. I am not that much of a wizard.
It's very niche sort of strats. You can get the same effect by lowering the battle speed. He's doing whatever he can to not have to lower it, so he can manipulate the battle speed inside the encounter itself. It's very helpful on some fights. And on this fight, I think it might help. I'm just concerned that if it's going to be enough or not. Oscredwin, meanwhile, looks like he's done. He set up stop. And he's like, okay, well, let's just kill this searcher.
Searcher goes down. That's a piled experience points on Meteor, but not nuke on the Quick Kid. And I imagine that's going to put Rosa up into the high 40s as well. Looks like Ken and Rosa did get slingshot, so Cecil's levels were high enough.
He just missed nuke, but keep in mind, he's still got a couple bosses that he's got to beat. He might be able to get that nuke after a queen at the Town of Monsters.
Yeah, and a runner at this caliber probably has the experience totals from those two bosses in the back of their head.
So there's the black hole on Penguin8r's side. So he's getting to black holes, at least.
Yeah, Penguin8r seems to have found the rhythm that he needs.
And you see he threw an ether on there. I think he's getting to the point where he's counting HP and he's trying to get past the HP refill at this point in time. Oh no, and now he's casting another fire. So.
Well, it does look like he's reflecting the vampires off the walls, because he's self-targeting with those vampires. And we aren't seeing the counter nukes come out either.
I did not know that was even an option.
Neither did I, but it is exciting to see and learn about.
All right, we'll see. I mean, his guys seem to be set up well to be able to survive that Big Bang. Oh, looks like he's doing ether again.
Yeah, because in order to get the nerf, you do need to directly target Threemus with actions. So one has to assume that is trying to hit that nerf timing.
It'll be close. We'll see if he got the nerf Big Bang here. Yes.
There we go. That's exciting to see.
Meanwhile, Oscredwin is now on his CPU fight. He will have a significantly easier time, all things told. I hope he kills off his Cecil, so his Cecil doesn't get slingshot here. Zilch, no, the ethers do not trigger refill. And he's casting Meteo. Oscredwin is casting a Swaggio.
Hell yeah. You'll love to see it.
Slowest spell to cast. But it's quad 9s.
Yeah, and I imagine Oscredwin has a read on how much HP CPU has at this spot. And takes it out before the Globe 199 comes out.
See, Oscredwin doesn't have any glow problems either. I love the viruses that are a part of Threemus' script. Casting virus, if you're not doing enough damage to him fast enough, is just a way of like poking you, saying, "Hey, hurry it up here." There's ether casts again. Almost out of ethers now. Penguin8r has spent more than 30 minutes on this fight, but there's the flash, there's the shake. GG's, Penguin8r. Whew.
Yeah, Penguin8r finishes with an official time of 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 57 seconds in a nail biter of a race.
No Tella, no problem.
No grind, no problem.
We'll see if Penguin is available for a quickie chat.
But it looks like we are joined by the Penguin8r himself. GG, what a race.
Thank you. It's probably not the best time to try that strat out sort of for the first time during a tournament race. I had a seed a week ago where basically the Zilt or the 1200 HP strats, whatever we call them, I had gotten into that in this particular practice lead I was running, but in that case I didn't quite have enough vampires, so I had figured out enough where I was comfortable getting the rhythm down in the main part of the fight, but it didn't quite have enough to finish it off. So this was the first time I actually completed the fight like this. As you saw, I struggled a bit the first few tries. I haven't tried berserking at the start, and so getting the timing on that was a little bit tricky.
Mm-hmm. So, at what point during the race did you decide, heck it, I'm going for these low-level strats?
I think once I found the pass, because at that point I had everything I needed for go mode, no darkness crystal, so ideally I didn't want to have to go hunting for that. So I figured I'd go ahead and go for it. I knew there was a Sid who would have enough HP. Figured it wouldn't be too hard to get Kane enough HP as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not wrong there. You opened a couple chests in Self Cave, got just enough there. Ironically, you were very close to the Darkness Crystal. Oscredwin is showing us the Darkness Crystal was actually with Sheila 1. So you were already kind of on the path to it if you wanted to make it easier on yourself.
Yeah, that route probably would have been, well, faster than wiping 3 times. Overall, I think if I pulled off the strat correctly the first time, it might have been faster this way. But I even almost thought about checking Sheila once the Legend Sword came out, and then I'd be able to forge, and if the Legend Sword came up, or Adamant, whichever one I didn't have, and then skip the D-Lunar boss. But then I kind of second-guessed myself and figured, well, the experience here will help me with Kane HP, so I'll go ahead and just commit to the D-Lunars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Oscredwin pulled that and went for a Mac Giant. Unfortunately, had a little bit of trouble with it, but is now just about to enter that Threemus fight himself.
So, I mean, you're now Penguin8r sitting 4-1, very pretty, moving forward to the next rounds of the tournament. This has been kind of an interesting tournament. There have been a few upsets along the ways, a few back and forths, things like that. Now that you're sitting 4-1, not necessarily comfortable, but you can feel pretty good about getting into the top 16 moving forward. Do you have any thoughts on the tournament as a whole, or how you're feeling right now in the tournament?
Not really, just taking things one match at a time. I have another match tomorrow, so I'm gonna try for the 5-1 for potentially a draft spot in the bracket, and just gonna take things from there.
Yeah, who's your last opponent?
I believe it is a Stone Dingley or Logos Ethos Pathos. I think both. I'm not sure which name is preferred.
Mm-hmm. Best of luck with that, by the way.
Thank you.
Well, any final thoughts as we wrap this up and view Oscredwin's Threemus fight as he's preparing to tackle Ogimus this time?
Just a GG to Oscredwin as he's finishing up. I was certainly scared as I was wiping through that fight that I wasn't going to be able to pull it off and that his dot done would come in and then I'd probably forfeit if the fight was giving me too much trouble. But yeah, GG.
And GG's to penguin8r as well. Congratulations on the win. We're double checking a couple things right now in the meantime. But yeah, we see the Legend Sword was at the other Feymarch boss. What?
Yeah, so even if you got your wires crossed and fought the wrong Feymarch boss, you would still have everything together. That's actually kind of adorable. And unfortunately, the stream seems to be down on our restreamers, and we're doing everything we can to bring that back as soon as possible.
But how amazing is that? Not ever really, getting a feel for a strategy is one thing, but executing it to completion is an entirely separate thing. And the first time that penguin8r has to do that kind of low percent strat, couple stumbles early, that certainly explains that. But he gets through it. I mean, that really speaks of the caliber of speedrunner that penguin8r is and his knowledge of the game.
Indeed, and shout out to Oscredwin, who definitely also was running into some stumbling blocks with that Mac Giant ride, but pulled it off in the end admirably. I know that the one time I tried to do a Giant Babel grind in this tournament, I just totally messed it up. And so, congrats to both of our runners for just going into territory that was very uncomfortable for both of them and pulling it off.
Nope, absolutely. While we're at a little bit of a break in the action, I do want to give a shout out not only to our runners, but the people behind the scenes who are doing all the work. Ground Flyer, who is on our wonderful restream team, who rolled this wonderful seed for us all tonight and doing all the work right at the moment. And then there's also Sheep Launcher, who is our tracker, clicking all the buttons. It was kind of an interesting match for tracking as well, and really, doing the double checks and everything. Thank you both for all the work behind the scenes and the entire free enterprise community. We have been able to restream so many matches in this tournament. Not only on our home channel over at twitch.tv/free enterprise, here on the Randomania channels, they've been a wonderful partner, and of course also over at RPG Limit Break on Twitch as well. All of our partner channels and our home channels. We've done so much work for everyone. Just a big shout out and thank you to all the folks who make it work behind the scenes.
All right. So, getting some updates. It looks like, unfortunately, there were some technical issues on Oscredwin's side. So the race is going to be held for review because we need to double check the local recording. But apologies for the street noise.
In the meantime, it does look like Oscredwin did finish. Again, it's going to be reviewed because it was not on the stream. But Oscredwin now joins us. GG's, and hopefully you can fill in some of the blanks here. We were just starting the Threemus fight when things cut. Hoping you can fill in some gaps for us.
Sure. I swear I can do a Mac Giant grind, in practice at least.
Yeah. So, as someone who has never done a Mac Giant grind, I noticed, but knows about it in theory, I noticed you resetting a bunch as you were trying to set up. Were you just trying to fish for favorable numbers? Are there, like, very few spots in that table that actually work out?
There's a lot of spots. I think I was just getting bad RNG. A lot of spots I was getting just were X's or blank spots on the chart. So I kept having to reset, or it required to like tell the difference between like 62 and 59 steps, which I didn't trust myself to count correctly.
I definitely get that. But you were the only runner tonight to ever see that darkness crystal.
Really?
Yeah, penguin8r went in with a pocket full of vampires and starveils and went for the cheeky low-level strats. It took him a few tries to get it going, but it was definitely exciting to see because both of us were sitting here going like, oh gosh, if Oscredwin gets in there, this could be anyone's race.
I was surprised it was as close as it was. I completely just flubbed that Mac Giant grind 16 different ways. And if anybody was watching my last table race, I kind of messed up that Mac Giant grind too. But where was the Darkness Crystal again? I thought it was someplace really easy and obvious.
Sheila won.
Sheila won. Oh, well, yeah, of course. Yeah, I had assumed penguin8r would have checked that. I had been watching his races, trying to get a feel for it, so I went to an early Fabul because I know he faded that last time, and I was actually pretty happy with everything I did except for the Mac Giant grind. I liked fading Hobbs. I liked the early music. Once I had the levels, the last two objectives were pretty easy. I was scared of finding a crystal sword because I was fading ordeals, and I was scared of Atella on Hobbs because I didn't check that. Atella or Threemus. But the siege played out pretty well, I thought.
Yeah, all in all, like you said, if that Mac Giant grind had gone a little smoother, this could have been anyone's race. So, an incredible amount of GGs to you for handling such a Jetty seed.
Yeah, once you got down to... So penguin8r went down to Fey March first, saw the pass, saw go mode, and then frog strats and the CPU just takes a lot of time. You don't have to be powerful to kill it. Okay. I think I see how this went.
Now, I do have a question for you because I could have sworn I knew what you were doing, and then you pulled the rug out from under me. You didn't really have your party set up quite yet, and then you got the big whale. I could have sworn that you were going to run up to the moon to check that lunar spot to see it, just on the off chance that there's a Tela up there, because we didn't see any Tela anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember that. I went into Mysidia and then I backed out to, I think, check something at Baron.
Well, you checked the package,
Oh,
which
yeah, the package.
which was a Sid. So I'm like, okay, he's checking character spots for
Yeah.
hoping for a Tela, but you didn't go up to the moon. I was like, what? I don't. I like it felt like at that point you were just like, I got to get going. Like, I don't know if you felt like you were behind at that point in time, that you couldn't waste any more time hunting.
I felt like I was behind when I matched up against penguin8r.
Fair.
I knew that everything I did in this seed, I was going to have to cut corners and gamble and take some risks, because I'm playing against, one of the best runners of this game. And I peeked package because that was right there, and it didn't take that long to see the character. I didn't have to go through the whole lunar cutscene, fly the whale around, and then go through the other little cutscene to even know who it is. Although it wouldn't be like that much. It's not really fast to get the mist character. But no, Kane with a white spear and Rosa with levels and Sid with an ogre axe was going to be enough for Zeromus. I like taking Dark Knight Cecil there. I haven't never done that before. And yeah, it was a pretty good run aside from that painful match I grind. I don't think I can watch that part of the VOD. Just too cringe.
It wasn't that. I mean, okay, yeah, we cringed a little bit when we did the first Mac Giant, and only 2 party members were alive. We were like, oh no.
God, that hurt so hard.
Yeah, I believe the words heartbreaking were used.
And then I had to do. I just was thinking about, do I reset right there, or do I just? And I decided it was probably going to be faster to land and reset up another Mac Giant grind, because I needed those levels on Kane and Rosa. There just wasn't any other option for that.
Yeah, and the second time went much faster with the levels on the Paladin and the Sid anyway, so...
Yeah, Sid was hitting twice as hard. I didn't even get Paladin up to nuke even with all of that, but Media worked pretty well for what I needed.
Indeed. Any final thoughts going forward? You are now 0-2, I believe?
Yeah. Honestly, I think my play in the table stages has been really good. Much better. I'm kind of happy with it. I feel like I've done really good play and then major mistake. And the major mistake has cost me a ton of time in both of my races. So I think I just don't do that next time, and I'll be much happier.
Indeed. Well, a race well run, apologies. And I look forward to seeing you turn it around and pull out 4 wins in a row.
Yes, absolutely. GG's.
It's something.
And with that, I think we're getting things wrapped up here. Leggy, you want to take us away?
Yeah, so once again, on behalf of Vitasia, Sheep Launcher, Grand Flyer, and myself, this has been a fantastic night of free enterprise action. But for those of you at home, the fun doesn't have to end. We'll be sending you all over to the free enterprise channel where there's another great race happening. As always, please do not spoil the results of this race for those who are watching there who haven't had a chance to watch this one. And we look forward to seeing you again soon.